Chapter 2. You know, many people look at my old figs and wonder, why did I ram all the chapters into one page? And I gotta say, it was the standard of the day. Queen Sally Elisa Acorn reclined on a large cotton blanket in the middle of a vast field of golden grain. She had taken some time out of her royal duties to catch up on some quiet time. She had left her comb and her tiara back at the palace, and grabbed her favorite book and comfy blanket, and had hidden out behind the palace in the grain field. The wind from the nearby ocean, tasting faintly of salt, gently blew the grain back and forth as Sally sank down in the blanket. The only sound she could hear was the sound of wind whispering over the field and the occasional song of a bird. Sometimes she could hear the crickets chirping, but they never came too close. She still wore her usual attire of vest and boots, not seeing the need for any extra clothing. Woo! Her father, the once king of Mobius, had tried to get her to at least wear a cloak to symbolize her royal status, but Sally would have none of it, saying that she was quite happy with the attire she had. And finally acquiesced, though, to change the color of her clothes from blue to royal purple, the acorn's official family color. Sally wondered how her father was doing. He was over in the northern part of the continent, on some trade mission acting as an intermediate between the two clans who could not seem to get along. Wait, you mean a princess showing her own willpower and shows her own independence? Who would have thought, eh, bronies? She had also grown her hair a bit longer, so now it curled around her ears and hung down to her shoulders. It was still the same dark red as always, and the same hairstyle she wore over 10 years ago. Even at her wedding, she would not adorn herself with any of the royal ailments. She was much too modest for that. Better not to show off too much, she said, than to show off. Finally, her father had given up, stating that she was like her mother, very stubborn. Today, though, she felt she needed some time away from the busy world, and retired to the fields, one of her favorite places to relax. She only started reading her fourth page when she thought she heard a rustle in the field. She frowned and put down her book, scanning the area. The sound did not repeat itself, so Sally mentally shrugged and went back to her reading. A few seconds later, there was another rustle, this time a little closer, and a little louder. She again put her book down and raised herself to her knees. "Who's there?" she asked, trying to see through the dense field of wheat. No one had answered, but the rustling sounds grew more frequent and louder. The first noise was joined by a second. "Who's out there? Hello?" asked Sally. Her body braced for any trouble. Suddenly, a tan hand shot out from behind her and grabbed her shoulder and pulled her backwards. Surprised, she landed on her back with a tiny oof. Then a small blue figure jumped out from the grain and landed on her stomach. The blue figure was joined by an equally small brown figure, and all three tumbled around, a jumble of arms and legs, and everybody, "Aww!" After a few minutes of this wrestling, breathless, Sally raised her hands in the air. "All right, you two, I give in. Now help your mother up," she said. The two small children lifted their mother up with exaggerated grunts. One was her son, a small blue hedgehog who looked exactly like Sonic, complete down to the little red and white sneakers. The other, a small female squirrel, was, we later find out, her boots, looked up to her mother and giggled at the joke the two had played. She looked exactly like Sally did. Brown fur and dark red hair in Sally's hairstyle. "Did we surprise you, Mom?" asked the small hedgehog. Sally nodded her head. "You sure did, honey." He nodded his head. "See, told you so," he said to his sister. "Mama, how come you're sitting out here?" said the small girl. Sally sat down on the blanket. "Well, sometimes Mommy needs to get away from things for a while, to relax." She frowned during her talk because the boy had gotten up and started throwing her his toy glider. The girl was watching him intently. "Just like your father. Such a large span of attention," said Sally, crossing her arms and smiling faintly. The girl turned around to look at Sally. "Mama, when is Daddy coming home?" Sally sighed. "Well, honey, Daddy will be gone for a long time. He and Uncle Tails have gone out into the ocean and far away to help Uncle Chuck with an invention." The boy sat down. "Mom, tell us another story when you were free and fire, and Dad too," he said, bouncing up and down. "Haven't you heard enough stories about that?" Sally asked incredulously. She told him a different tale each night before bed. "No," both said. Then laughed after saying it. So Sally sighed, and both had to pay attention when she told them a story. Way back when the freedom fighters were still living in Knothole, Sonic came screeching down the main route to Sally's hut. Robert, Bunny, and Antoine were already there, sitting at the large oval table in Sally's kitchen. Sonic raced through the door and sided up to Sally. He placed a large sheet of paper on the table in front of her. Sally picked it up and started to read. Who is the most skilled fighter on Mobius? Find out tomorrow at the Tournament of Champions. Come out and show off your fighting skills. Trophy your prize for the winner. Where did you get this, Sonic? It was taped to some old tree at the edge of the great forest, Sonic said. Roar pointed to the sign. But who wrote it? I don't know. Where is this tournament? Sonic asked. Sally looked at the sign. It says, at the abandoned village of Pinewood. That's 20 miles northeast of here. No prob, Sonic said. With a sleepy gesture of his hand. I'll win that contest heads down. Sonic, this is obviously a trap. Don't tell me you're going to walk right into it, said Sally, frowning. Hey! There's not a trap made that can hold this hedgehog, he said, pointing to himself. Bunny shook her head, long ears flapping with emotion. Hello, Sir How. You can't think that this little old tournament thing is real. So what? Still gonna win, he said, folding his arms. Yes, the fighting tournament held by Bernie and featuring Honey to Catch, Amy Rose, Tails, Knuckles, Bark, Bean, Espio. Yeah, I went there. So what? Still gonna win, he said, folding his arms. Sally sighed. You're missing the point, Sonic. Very well. We'll go test this out, but we won't go in without a power ring. If this is a trap, I want every possible precaution taken. Bunny, you and I and Sonic will go. The rest of you will stay here and guard Knothole. If this is a trap, there's no need to expose more people to it. All right, Sal! Sonic exclaimed, giving her the thumbs up. I already have a spot in my trophy case reserved for it. Uh-huh. And what makes you think you're going to win, Mr. Big Shot? Said Sally. Sonic frowned. What do you mean? He asked. I'm going to fight in the tournament, too. Might as well keep it safe, she said. Bunny joined in. I think I'll fight, too. Been too long without any action. Sonic backed up. Well, guys, is that a good idea? I mean... Sonic raised an eyebrow. Oh, what's the matter, Sonic? Afraid one of us might beat you? She chuckled. No, Sal. You know I wouldn't fight a girl. I mean... He gulped. Sally folded her arms. I see, Sonic. You mean us girls aren't good enough to fight? Hey! I think you're here, Tails calling. Got juice! With that, he rocketed out the door. Sally and Bunny laughed at each other. Robert just shook his head. Antoine just sat with a confused expression on his face. We'll show Sonic is a good fighter, said Sally. Bunny put a hand on Sally's shoulder. You say it, Sal girl. The next day found Sonic, Sally, and Bunny hightailing into the deserted village of Pinewood. It was once a stronghold for a group of freedom fighters, but it had once been captured and roboticized years ago. Now only the hut still stood. Someone, though, had built a large square ring in the center of the village. It was about 30 feet square, with tall posts in each corner and rubberized shrubs encircling it. People were emerging from the forest all over to converse in the arena. Sally counted a total of 30 people. A large kangaroo bounded into the ring and addressed the crowd. Welcome, ladies and gentle creatures, to the Tournament of Champions! He paused, as if expecting his applause. I'm Mr. Hopper. I arranged this little get-together to determine the most skillful fighter on Mobius. There'll be a trophy and a special prize to the winner. How we determine who fights who is easy. Each one of you get a certain small ball. He paused. Several koalas handed each of the contestants a small bad-colored ball with a red numbering. Hopper continued. Each ball's numbered. We have the same balls in this basket. We'll pick 2 balls, and those whose numbers match will fight. Let me remind you that this is a full contact fight with no padding. But this is not a fight to the death. Oh no. Each clean hit will be awarded a point. The fighter who wins 30 points or knocks out the opponent wins. Is everyone clear on the details? He looked around his captive audience and found that there were none. So he hopped out the ring and a small table on the side. Alright, then, let's begin. Numbers 10 and 28. he said, holding the balls.
Trixie's proud of you.
Why?
All this talk about balls, you didn't bring out any innuendo.
I'm holding it back. The first two fighters were a small raccoon and a small bear. They had both entered the ring on opposite sides. When Hopper yelled fight, they conversed on each other. Each eyed each other warily, looking for an opening. They circled round and round. Suddenly the bear opened into a spinning back kick, and the raccoon barely ducked in time. The foot sailed overhead, and the raccoon countered with a hard fist to the stomach. The bear went down, out of breath. 1 point to the raccoon, growled Hopper. The fight did not take long, with the raccoon coming out as the winner. This fighting went on all morning, with half of the contestants being disqualified. Instead of being let go, they were told to sit in the grandstand until the fighting was over. None complained. Everyone was getting to the spirit of fighting. Bunny was called next, as he was paired up against a large crocodile creature. Vector? Is that you? Bunny cracked her knuckles. I swear, if Knuckles doesn't show up in this fic, I'm gonna be mad, as he prepared to fight. The croc pounced on her, hoping to trap her between his arms.
Wow, Suka, are you trying to be fresh with little money?
Bunny asked coyly, fluttering her eyelids. She worked her robot arm loose and grabbed the croc's arm. She flipped him on his back easily. She then picked up the croc and tossed him out of the ring, and he landed on the ground hard. He was disqualified for leaving the ring. 4 more pairs fought, and all ended in quick results. The day was getting on. They were allowed to break for lunch. Sally, Sonic, and Bunny sat on a blanket together, discussing today's events. I can't put my finger on it, but something is funny here, Sally said. Sonic frowned. You said so. This ain't the seems funny. Sonic, I was talking about this tournament. Sonic shook his head. Sal, you always think that. Why can't you relax? Why can't you use your brain? C said, pointing to her head. Sonic talked between mouthfuls. Hurts so much, he said. Sally rolled her eyes at Sonic and looked around the fairground. Everything seemed in place, and yet not. She glanced more at the combatants. She noticed that there seemed to be more koala bears around than any other species. She frowned to herself. After lunch, the tournament resumed. Bunny had foregone her next fight, so she had been disqualified. Sonic drew a line against a large fox. It was totally red-figured fur and did not look happy. It had won its 2 previous fights, while this was Sonic's first. They charged at each other and entered into a strength contest. They locked hands, pushing against the other. Sonic gritted his teeth and pushed hard, as did the fox. They seemed previously easily matched, for neither backed down. Alley-oop! Said Sonic, falling back, taking the fox with him. When Sonic was down on his back, he kicked the fox in the chest, causing it to sail up over him. The fox landed hard on his back, but quickly got up and charged. You're pretty quick, but I'm faster, said Sonic, his feet whirling. He tucked under the fox's arm as it swung to punch him. Sonic ran around and grabbed the fox faster and faster. The fox was dizzy from trying to watch him. The fox staggered around as it tried to get its bearing, but Sonic was there. Night-night, bozo, he said as he socked the fox. The fox went down and did not get back up. Sonic won his fight easily with the fox, and now it was Sally's turn. She had drawn against a large porcupine. She wasted no time. She wanted to show Sonic she could fight as well as he. She kicked the porcupine in the chest and followed up with a straight arm sweep, knocking the porcupine senseless. She flipped it over her shoulder. The porcupine scared it away. This is too dangerous. I forfeit this fight, he whimpered. Mr. Harper did not look amused. There are no forfeits just in this tournament, he snapped. The porcupine turned around, but was caught in the chin by Sally with a flying kick. The porcupine fell to the mat, unconscious. 2 koalas dragged him away. Hopper pounded the ring. Now it's time for our semi-final match. We have 3 finalists, and the final with the most points wins a body for this round. So the fighters are numbers 4 and 26. Sally and Sonic gaped. They were to fight each other. I won't do it, said Sonic firmly. I won't fight Sally. Hopper came bounding up. Look, boy, you can't quit. If you do, then you'll disqualify, and she'll have to fight the champion. Pointing over the corner, there stood an immense lion. He was over 7 feet tall and very muscular. His golden fur seemed almost to glow. Sonic swallowed hard. All right, I'll fight, but I won't like it, he said sadly. Sally was actually glad for this opportunity to show Sonic how good of a fighter she was. He never took her seriously when it came to fighting, and now she would show him. Of course, she would put on a show and then jump out of the ring to disqualify herself. They stood apart, and Hopper's command circled each other. "I won't hurt you, Sal," whispered Sonic. Sally aimed a low kick at Sonic's knees, which he barely avoided. So he immediately followed with an uppercut punch, catching Sonic square in the jaw. He staggered back, fingering his jaw muscles. He moved back just as Sally performed a jumping roundhouse kick that swished by him. She then jumped over him, and Sonic ducked. She landed on her hands behind him and mule kicked him in the back. He flew against the ropes and bounced off stunned. "That's 2 points for number 26, said Hopper. Sonic was angry now. He had held him back for Sally's sake, but it appears she wasn't holding back at all. He gritted his teeth as he turned around. Sally was already flying towards him, her left foot aimed at his head. He reached up quickly and grabbed her foot, throwing it to the mat. She landed with a small oof. Sonic stalked to the middle of the ring, and as Sally flipped herself up, she jumped again at Sonic, and Sonic, startled, raised his right leg for a side kick. He caught her hard, right in the breadbasket, knocking the wind out of her. Sally went to the mat, moaning and coughing. "That's 2 points apiece," said Hopper. "Sal!" Sonic said, rushing to her side. "Sorry, Sal, I never meant to hurt you." Wheezing, Sally looked down. "It's okay. At least now I owe you this!" she said, and punched Sonic full in the face, knocking him out. They dragged Sonic away. Hopper jumped up to Sally. "Now, my dear, I hope you can handle yourself against the champion. Bring out Lion Good." The large lion pounced into the ring. Sally stared at this huge creature. She had not meant to win her match, but her punch at Sonic had been an anchor, and she did not mean to knock him out. But she would show everyone she was not a quitter. She faced the lion bravely. "Fight!" yelled Hopper. The lion advanced. He held his claws straight out, ready to rip Sally to shreds. She raised him over his head, still advancing. He roared in a challenge. Sally jumped up and delivered the hardest kick she had ever had, smacking his nose. A large crack was heard. Sally landed on her side and rolled away. The lion stood still for a moment, then tilted forward. His head bounced off the mat twice as it fell and was still. The crowd cheered wildly, unbelieving Sally had beaten the giant. Even Hopper was impressed. "You won. Truly you're the most skilled fighter on Mobius. And now here's your special prize." Two koalas rolled out an object under the trampoline, and the object stopped. One lifted up, revealing a portable roboticizer. Hopper grabbed her by the arm. "Your prize is to be roboticized to serve our master, Dr. Robotnik," he growled. His eyes glowing red now. The koalas shredded their fur, revealing themselves to be small robots. They leveled their lasers at the crowd of now panicking Mobians. Only Sonic wasn't panicking. He was still trying to shake the cobwebs out of his brain. Bunny helped him up. "Sir Hulk, if there's ever a town we needed you, it's now!" she said. Sonic raised himself unsteadily. "Man, that's the last time I fight with Sal." "So you sure wrung yours, Southern Belle," said Bunny. So he handed Sonic the golden power ring she took out of Sonic's pack, which he was still holding. He grabbed it and raised it high. Golden airs he swirled around him. "Cheers time!" Sonic zipped up towards Harper and Sally. He was trying to push her into the roboticizer, and Sally was doing everything she could to stop him. Sonic buzzed through his arm, releasing Sally. Sonic fell to the ground, sparking. Harper tried to raise a gun to Sonic, but Sonic pushed him to the roboticizer and turned it on. The roboticizer tried to make Robot Hopper into a robot again. Both machines exploded. Sonic dropped Sally at the other side of the ring. The koala robots, now confused their leader was gone, were easy targets for the other Mobians. Fresh from fighting, they made short work of the robots. When they were done, Sally made them scare back to their villages. Soon only Sally and Bunny and Sonic were left. "I'm sorry I hit you, Sonic. Where does it hurt?" apologized Sally. Sonic pointed his head. "Right here," he said. Sally kissed the spot. "Anywhere else?" "Well, right here." He touched his nose. After Sally kissed his nose, she said, "All right." "Well, you kind of bruised me right here," Sonic said, touching his lips. Sally smiled and kissed Sonic, who grabbed her and kissed her hard. At that time, Bunny noticed some interesting cloud formations and went to study them. She hoped she would be finished by the time it got dark. Presently, Sally and Sonic walked up to her, hand in hand. "Let's go home, Bunny," said Sally. Bunny noticed her hands. "Everything all right now?" "Always has been," snickered Sonic. Sally leaned back, tired from telling her story.
"That was cool, Mom," said the boy. "Lots of fighting and stuff."
The girl put her hands behind her head.
"I like the romance."
He made a face. "Yuck," he said, sticking his tongue out. But there was a lesson to be learned from that story, kids. That is, everything's not as always it seems, Sally said. Huh? They said in unison. Sally laughed. Sometimes what you see is not always what you get, she said. It's still a cool story, said the boy. Sally stood up. Well, children, while I was telling you that story, I noticed an air car has landed at the castle. Would you like to see who it is? She asked. Yeah! They both yelled. Sally pointed at her belongings. Well then, if one of you would carry my book and the other my blanket, we'll go see, okay? They took to the things and started walking. Mom, will Dad be home soon? I hope so, honey. I really do, she sighed, looking up at the clouds. Burr approached the landing pad that jutted out from the middle levels of the castle. He carefully adjusted his vernier jets as he landed his craft. He let the air jets cycle off before descending from the cabin. He smoothed his robes around them and walked off the pad. The double doors leading into the palace opened in his presence. They quickly closed behind him. The air inside was cool and fresh, not oppressive as it was outside. Apparently the air cooling and circulating vents were working full time. Relying on his memory, he quickly turned a corner and headed towards Uncle Chuck's lab. The door opened immediately for him. He saw Uncle Chuck at the far end of the lab with his back turned toward him. Computers flashed data on monitors all around him, and there was a definite smell of burnt silicon in the air. Uncle Chuck wielded a small wielder in his tiny hand flashes in the air. You know, you really should use an energy inhibitor for that, Rose said, placing his hands on his back. Eh? Said Uncle Chuck, slipping in his hair as he was there. He flipped the visor and was wearing his oversized. Rudder! Very pleasant surprise! He shot out the wielder and placed it on his workbench along with his visor. They walked towards each other, clasped hands. Rudder noticed that Uncle Chuck had not changed too much since he last seen him. His mustache and eyebrows were still gray, but a bit bushier. Of course, there were a few more wrinkles under his eyes, but Rudder could see they were still at laugh lines. It's good to see you again, Sir Charles, he said, Rudder, pumping his hand. Uncle Chuck laughed. It's good to see you too. How long has it been? 8 years? Yeah, 10, I think. So, Sir Charles, how long have you been keeping? Asked Rudder, letting his eyes roam around the lab. Seems you've been very busy these last few years. Uncle Chuck put his arm around Rudder and steered him across the room. Well, Rudder, keeping the pollution levels down has been a lot of work. Even after 10 years, there's still a lot of pollution and junk in the atmosphere. It's wreaking havoc with our weather patterns. I've been trying to come up with something that'll clean it up, but it hasn't been easy. Rudder went over to the computer monitors. Maybe I can help? Uncle Chuck put his hands on his hips. Somebody can see that, Rudder. I can sure use the extra hands. Let's see what we can do, said Rudder, moving towards the computer console.